It's officially All-Star Weekend for the NBA, and a lot of players say some things when they're there together with the cameras, the questions, all in Los Angeles. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers podcast on a Friday live from the Xfinity Mobile Studio on this Friday, along with Derek Kyle. I'm Devon Bree, President of Basketball Operations. All of you hanging out with us on this Friday as the All-Star Weekend gets underway. We are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Make sure you sign up using code PHLY365. Go and, place your wagers on the Rising Stars Challenge. And this weekend, the Slam Dunk Contest and the three-point contest as well, MVP on Sunday. And go ahead and do that at Bet365. We have a lot to get to here on this Friday. And as I say that, guys say a lot of things when they are in front of the camera, especially when – yes, we do too. 5 days a week. Guys say things and you're like, okay, he feels good about that. Or maybe he doesn't like that particular thing. Well, that's what we're going to start here today with VJ Edgecombe. Kyle talking about how he feels about his basketball team. Now 30-24, 54 games in, 6th place in the Eastern Conference. And with 28 games remaining when they do get back after the All-Star break, game 1 on Thursday against the Atlanta Hawks at home, he feels pretty good about their chances in the Eastern Conference. And while we have talked a lot about how they match up against certain teams, if they're fully healthy, et cetera, going on, a young player, saying this ahead of the Rising Stars Challenge tonight, VJ Edgecombe, pretty confident about his team's chances in the East.
Yep. We already have a mute to start the show, baby. Let's go. You know what's funny about VJ's rookie season in general is I feel like personality-wise, he has gone off type or off expectation maybe more than any rookie I can remember, where we're expecting this kid to come in and, hey, he doesn't take these types of shots and he's not good at this. And then the first game of the year, he's putting up 30-plus points, and he's absolutely gunning from three and playing a way we didn't expect. And, he's this nice, humble kid, and, he is those things, but he also is someone who is openly jawing at opponents, who's talking trash, who is willing to go to All-Star Weekend, get in front of the camera, and be like, yeah, I think we can win the Eastern Conference. Why not? And it's a thing that we've only seen more and more of over time. He has been in a rut here individually over the last month and a half, which has dampened that a little bit. But I love that he feels this way and that he's willing to say it. Too often now we get into this media environment where nobody is willing to have a moment that goes viral or have a moment that can come back to bite them. It's a lot of just corporate type of answers, and not everyone's that way. We've been fortunate enough to cover Joel Embiid and deal with the shenanigans that he throws out there basically once every week or so, once every couple weeks or so through the media. So I love this, man. And frankly, we've talked about them as a contender. While I still, certainly with the team that's 6th in the East and has been as inconsistent as they are, I'm not willing to sit here and be like, man, he's absolutely right. They're the team to beat. I will say, when we've been able to see them for these small stretches of full health or close to full health, and everything's clicking, and Joel Embiid is playing not just as well as he is, but as often as he has, and for the amount of minutes that he's playing in these games, I think has been one of the most encouraging things of all. Of course, you can start dreaming about, deeper playoff runs. Now, obviously, this conversation would have been a little more fun if they didn't spend the final week before the All-Star break getting their doors blown off by 2 different teams, one a little bit better than the other. But this is the mentality that I need VJ and everyone in that locker room to have. Because if you don't believe deep in your soul that you can go on a deep playoff run, you're not going to make one. You're going to fold, whether it's in first round, second round. And I'm not saying that VJ is capable of changing the stakes of this season or the general vibe around this team in year one, but you need this kind of energy from the young guy. That's why young guys are important. You got to give that jolt of confidence to the rest of the group who maybe is a little more jaded and cynical after all these years in the league?
Yeah, there's two sort of discussions around this. There's, do we think they're the team to beat in the East? And then there's, what does it mean that VJ thinks that they are? And, I might have my questions of whether they're above the Pistons and the Celtics and Knicks and the Cavs. I think ownership and management have sort of told you they don't really think that they're a team to beat in East based off of their actions. I just want to set that up to point out
he's got the
on my
duck button
soundboard.
going. Let's go.
Finally got the duck set up. But the other question is, and like, I'm not saying they have no chance because the East there's no dominant team. And if they catch a magical run, who knows? But with VJ's mindset, like he's just shown time and time again, he's not afraid of those big shots. He's not afraid of backing up what he says. He's not afraid to have the ball in key moments. And he's also playing along an all-star starter in Tyrese, who's probably going to be an all-NBA player this year, and a guy who has won MVP and is back to playing at least offensive basketball pretty close to it, or at least closer than we thought. So why would he not have confidence that as they spend more time playing alongside of each other, as they get to know each other better, as they get, sort of like that sixth sense that a team gets when they have more minutes together, they will play better and better basketball, assuming they stay healthy. Like a player should have that kind of confidence. They should go into the playoff run thinking they have a chance. And I am, like Kyle, very happy that he is willing to express that, because we do get very sanitized public comments because nobody wants to build up bulletin board material that goes viral. So, I love that he is showing more and more of his confidence and his personality. And I'm glad that he has that confidence. May or may not agree with him, wholeheartedly, but I'm glad that he expressed it.
I don't love it. I don't
the
love
cynic joins the show.
Yeah. I
and send it to your cousin for motivation. Is that what you did?
No, that is not it. No, the reason why I don't love it, I don't mind. Listen, have all the confidence in the world. I hope he has all the confidence in the world. I don't know that he is the one that should be saying that as the representative of the team to say something like that out loud. Joel Embiid can back it up. Tyrese Maxey can back it up. While they may stand and back up for their rookie who says that, I don't know that as much as VJ Edgecombe has had a fantastic start to his rookie year, that I want him to be the one that says this, because of the fact that while he has already played the most games in his career, we have the questions of pros that have already been in the league and questions on other teams that just simply were bad teams and they were a part of it. Case in point, Trent and Watford. Can you perform in the playoffs? I believe VJ Edgecombe can perform in the playoffs, but to what extent to help them win a series in that 7-game series where we're looking back at it and he had a terrible matchup where he's not doing, he can do some of the things that we ask because that's just what he does. He's going to get rebounds. He's going to get some steals. He's going to make passes. Can he score? Can he hit that big shot there? I don't know that yet when we get to game 87, and it's very important for VJ Edgecombe to be the one to do that after saying this and putting a target on him as the one who has said that for the representative of the team. I love the fact that he has it. He has said things already this season a few times where I'm like, oh, VJ Edgecombe is standing up and saying something, but I don't know that I want him to be the one that said this. Maybe say something a little bit different of, you know what, I think we have a pretty good chance. And while it is not as bold as what he said and you guys liking it, he's still saying something along those lines without just simply throwing it all against the wall and saying, come get me, everybody. I was just the one that said that because he's going to have to back that up. And as you guys have talked about, he has done some really good things defending Jalen Brunson during the season. When you get to the postseason, we know it's different. When Donovan Mitchell is across from him, Jaylen Brown is across from him. Can he back that type of stuff up now that he said this out there publicly? So, look, he said it. Great. I'm glad he feels as confident. I just didn't want him to be the one to say that out loud. And look, sometimes he has said things again locally to you guys. He is now in LA with all the cameras and all that stuff. And sometimes you say things that you believe, but also sometimes you're saying you puff your chest out a little bit more because of the situation of where you're in. And Kyle, you said it right from the beginning. When we were seeing this guy come out of school we're at summer league. We're like, oh, this guy. I didn't want to cut you off when you were saying it, but it was also, hey, we didn't even know if this guy was going to be starting, let alone all the other things that you pointed out of coming out in game one and dropping 34 in this opener and doing things on the floor that we didn't see. But I love the fact that he feels confident about his team and about himself. I just didn't want him to be the one to say what he just said.
See, I sort of like fade the concept of bulletin board material to begin with. Like, if you need something that a rookie said 3 months ago to get you amped up for the playoffs, you're probably not winning anyway.
Okay. I'm not saying that you do, but you can't sit there and ignore the fact that they don't do it as something that's just extra.
Yeah, but I just don't think it actually influences their effort level all that much. Go ahead, Kyle. I'm sorry.
I have two things. One, now we know who does Mikhail's media training. So good job, Devon, for all the work you've done over the years to help your family member come off as polished and professional as he does. Number two, I could split the difference here in the sense that I would agree if this was like, I don't know, Quentin Grimes or Adem Bona or Andre, like one of the reserves who you're only playing 15 minutes in a playoff game and you're a guy coming off the bench. And like, I get all the reasons that a rookie saying something that's going to rattle some cages is something you want to avoid. But I think to Derek's point, it's a guy 3 months from the playoffs saying something that, like, if one of these teams is digging that up, they are really desperate to try to find a way to get motivated. I think if it was like, hey, they're playing the Boston Celtics tomorrow in a playoff series, and VJ's like, yeah, we're better than them. Like, I think that's an example of where you're like, just shut the hell up, then don't say anything, rookie. I think this is more of like, our group needs some galvanization, right? Like right now, this is a team that's been up and down and up and down and up and down. And some of that is health. Some of that is the, building the chemistry. Some of it is VJ, frankly, has not been as good as he needs to be for the last month or so. But I can't, in good conscience, and certainly as a media member, I can't sit here and be like, boy, I really wish he gave that canned good PR answer from the Sixers PR staff. I want this for my own selfish reasons. But as someone, if I was playing with VJ, if I'm in the locker room with him, I need the young kid who's coming in top 5 pick to walk around with that type of confidence and swagger every single day. And I'll live with the negative consequences. Like, I won't dismiss the fact that some team could be like, oh, yeah, VJ thinks you're the team to beat. Watch this. Or like Jaylen Brown, like you said, Jalen Brunson, whoever it might be. All the Jalen's. I don't know why they specifically are the guys that we have to think about here. But what's Jalen McDaniels doing these days? I don't actually know.
Well, if they see him in the finals, that's a pretty good – VJ, you've done pretty good there, buddy.
So I would say this. Obviously, there's a line where sometimes it's like you wrote a check that you can't cash. Your mouth wrote a check that you can't cash with your play. I understand where you're coming from, Devon. But I think in this environment, this far from any kind of meaningful basketball, and with this franchise and frankly this fan base being in a place where – talking about Jimmy Rollins, right? Jamie Lynch in our Discord brought up, like, is he their new J-Roll, right? When Jimmy Rollins said the Phillies were the team to beat, what reason in recent history did any Phillies fan have to look at and say, boy, this is the time. The time is now. They're finally going to stop stinking it up after like a decade plus of anonymity and not being good enough. Somebody's got to plant the flag and say, I don't care what happened before. I don't care that Joel wasn't healthy in the past. I don't care about Ben Simmons and Doc Rivers and James Harden and Furkan Korkmaz and Seth Curry, and like go down the list of all these guys who weren't good enough when it mattered, who contributed to the losing, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't even mention 12, by the way. Won't even say his name. Sometimes you just need someone who's going to come in and shake stuff up and just not be burdened by the weight of recent history, the weight of recent losses, and all the other nonsense. More power to VJ. That's how I feel.
No, I think that pretty much the way I would sum it up is I'm more worried about the Sixers mentality heading in the playoffs, and I'm worried about the opponent's mentality about the Sixers. So I appreciate VJ both having the opinion and expressing it.
Don't mind the opinion. Just didn't think he needed to express that out loud the way that he did. So, and look, we've said it before that they get into a series with any of these teams, they match up. When you have Joel Embiid, you match up differently when you have him out there on the floor. And he said it, fully healthy, all that stuff people in the chat are talking about, fully healthy and all. That's the only way we really, evaluated them in the playoffs and their chances. If they are healthy, we don't know what that looks like. 3 months away from when that gets started, we don't know. We have no idea. But so far, things this week, put aside the last 2 games Joel Embiid did not play, if he's out there, they have a chance in every series because of what he does offensively. Derek, you just said it. He's Joel Embiid. So that's a problem for the opponents. VJ Edgecombe, I love the fact that he feels that way. I want him to have the utmost confidence. Yeah, I'm the one that did not want him to have to say that out loud in order for that to be. And look, Kyle, you're right. Derek, you're right. We're 3 months away from all that. But they're in 6th place. While they have an advantage right now over 7 and 8, they're going to be on the road a lot. Joel Embiid is going to miss some of these games. Paul George is not playing for the next 18. So are we talking about, have that confidence as a 7 seed or an 8 seed or trying to get themselves into the playoffs after a play-in? That's also still on the table. While I do believe that they're a top 6 team in the Eastern Conference, now we need to see what they look like when they come back in these final 18, how all this worked out. We've done multiple shows now. Are you just going to add extra pieces to help you out in terms of depth on this team because you don't have Paul George? So they still have a lot of work to do before we even get there, and he has to be a big part of it. He has not played well. He needs a break, as we've talked about, and he needs to come back and put his foot on the gas and make sure that he closes out the rest of the year, these 28 games, and helping them. And I do believe he'll do that. I just didn't want him to be the one to say this out loud. So that's me. I'm the one, everybody, that did not like VJ Edgecombe saying that.
Boo!
All right, well, we're going to take our first pause. Everybody come after me. But I got my guys here to make sure that they block everything coming my way. We are the PHLY Sixers podcast. When we come back, we have the big deal that we have to talk about here on the show as well. We have multiple things to discuss. We got All-Star Weekend, some thoughts on some things in the past as well. Plenty to get to on this Friday. VJ Edgecombe said some stuff. Do you guys agree with him? We're breaking it down right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
Guys, next up, we want to tell you about Monarch, because managing your money doesn't have to be a struggle this year. One of my own personal financial goals for the year is to save up enough money for the down payment on a house, and Monarch's tools will help me do that. You can set yourself up for financial success this year. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool. It's designed to make managing your life easier. My favorite thing about Monarch is how well it shows you exactly where your money is going, so you can make educated decisions on how to manage your finances better. Monarch isn't your average personal finance app. It's built to make you proactive, not just reactive. And Monarch delivers real results for real people. Monarch helps save users an average of over $200 a month after joining. Set yourself up for financial success in 2026 with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes proactive money management simple all year long. Use code PHLY at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code PHLY.
Can I tell you about a local business that's been helping Philly homeowners and businesses stay pest-free? Thank you. I appreciate it. Evans Pest Control. This isn't some giant national chain. They're a family-owned, community-focused pest control company right here in the Philly area, and they've been earning the trust of your neighborhoods for years. Evans Pest Control uses state-of-the-art equipment, safe and effective treatments options, and their techs go through continuous training, so they're equipped to handle anything: rodents, insects, termites, even bed bugs. You don't want any of those things. They offer priority services and consultations, which is huge, of course, when it comes to pests. So if you're like me and you don't want any unwanted guests, any unwanted friends roaming around your house, Evans Pest Control is the place for you. So if you see signs of pests or just want to prevent them before they start, reach out to Evans Pest Control. Visit evanspestmgmt.com to schedule your free consultation. That's Evans Pest Control at evanspestmgmt.com.
Back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast, Derek, Kyle, Devon, Bree, all of you, thank you for hanging out with us on this Friday. as we sit here, start of All-Star Weekend, where the games last night too were a little boring. I was trying to watch some of it. OKC game wasn't all that great. Yeah, exactly. It just wasn't a good Thursday night heading into the All-Star break. But
I'm shocked.
That being said, let's get to the big takeaway here this afternoon, presented by Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com to check in. We gotta stick with the bit, right? 4Q. We gotta stick with 4Q as far as things go when it comes to Xfinity. Join in at Xfinity.com for the best. All right. So the big takeaway is obviously VJ Edgecombe stating what he said and how he feels about this team in general. So I guess, Derek, I would start off by saying, while you have no issue with what he said, but sitting here right now, 30-24, 2 games that they lost going into the break here. How do you feel about this team right now, with him, of course, included, VJ Edgecombe?
Oh, of course they're not the team to beat. They're definitely not the team to beat.
No.
They are in the mix. They have a outside chance, a puncher's chance. They're not the team to beat. And look, I might have all of the questions in the world about whether the Pistons can translate, their regular season success to the playoffs, whether they, their youth is going to catch up to them, whether just their lack of shooting and their questionable half-court scoring will catch up to them, yada, yada, yada. They have fewer questions than the Sixers do, and they're 40-13. So, you are not going to, and forget the Celtics and all the success that they've had and how well they stick to their principles, and the Knicks, who, probably have the most well-rounded starting 5, or at least the side with the fewest holes in it. And the Cavs, who just acquired James Harden, and we'll see how well he integrates there. Those 4 teams you would have to give a better chance than the Sixers, and then you can start talking in there. And look, I do think the Sixers have a chance. If they get healthy, and not even really get healthy, because their biggest absence right now, or at least extended absence, is Paul George, and that's suspension. You've got Grimes out with an illness, Barlow had an illness, and Embiid with the 2 games, whatnot. But they're relatively healthy, all things considered. If they're healthy, they've got a chance, but you are relying on, a rookie for heavy minutes. You've got very little depth at numerous positions, and you've got the question marks that come with Paul George and Joel Embiid staying healthy, not to mention the lack of playoff success, that deep playoff runs, at least, that Joel has had. There's a lot of question marks with this team. They lose the 3-point math battle a lot. The defense at its best seems like it is about league average, and at its worst, as we have seen over the last 2 games, it is far worse than that. So yeah, I don't think they're an inner circle title contender. Again, neither does Josh Harris or Daryl Morey. I really wanted to play with that quack button one more time, but I do think they have a puncher's chance if everything goes right.
I love that when we have these conversations, by the way, we all just collectively skip over the Toronto Raptors, despite the fact that they do have a better record than the Sixers, and they now have 2 All-Stars. The
reason I
really
listed,
thinks about them.
I would kind of put the Raptors in the Sixers tier. The reason I listed the other 4 is I think they're a tier above.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Now, putting a team with infamous playoff performer James Harden in a tier above is a very funny concept to me. Obviously, they're in the honeymoon stage with James right now. He's playing well. I saw a clip of James Harden moving in a game the other day where I was like, where was that guy the last 5 years, or even the last couple of years, where he's been, I don't want to say slow, but certainly not very explosive since he left Brooklyn. And hey,
it's the honeymoon, Kyle.
Honeymoon period will do a lot for you.
Remember that? Remember that Knicks game, his first game that he played?
Oh yeah,
he looked like James Harden could move. Yeah,
I remember the Knicks game, and I remember all the crying that happened in those first few games after James Harden and Joel Embiid played together, and they shot 1 billion free throws. Was a fun moment of discourse. But yeah, I agree with what Derek is saying, and I think when we've talked about Detroit's weaknesses, or Detroit's perceived weaknesses anyway, because right now they're not really impacting them. They are cruising through the Eastern Conference and look like they're on the path to be the clear number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Their weaknesses have not impacted them yet. It's all theoretical, where we've watched the Sixers, their weaknesses have hurt them night after night after night and throughout the season. And it's why they haven't been able to climb further than like 6-7 games over 500, which coming into the season, I think if you would have said they'd be 6 games over 500 at the All-Star break, you would have been happy, but you wouldn't have known that they were going to get this version of Joel Embiid, that he would be available for as many games as he would be in January heading into the All-Star break. You would have said, maybe I think the ceiling should be higher then if they're going to have him and Paul and Tyrese playing at the level he's at currently, and VJ's killing things early to get off to a 4-0 start, like all those things. I think people would have expected a little better than their current record. So I think that shows that they clearly have weaknesses that have slowed them down now. Whether that impacts the playoffs is less clear because the rotations shorten. I think teams like the Knicks are actually a good recent example. There were a lot of people, myself included, who would look at Tibbs pushing those guys in years prior and say, man, is Jalen Brunson just going to wear down and have nothing to give by the time you get to the playoffs? And then they go on a deep playoff run in part because those guys were built for that. They were already playing, 38, 39, 40 minutes a game in many cases. And so when the rotations shortened, they're playing the same basketball that they were playing in January, February, March. So maybe that's one of the arguments for the Sixers is that while we're going to have to get through this period of Maxey struggling, VJ looks tired, Joel is now dealing with the right knee thing, we're not going to see Paul George until late March. Maybe they will just be able to rise to the 40-plus minute environment of April, May, and June better than they have in the past because they're being pushed to do so. I think that's a dangerous game to play. And I think when you're in blowouts, like when they lost to the Knicks by 49 points, you don't then need to play Maxey 30-plus minutes to accomplish absolutely nothing. But I do wonder if there's a little bit of like, all right, they're struggling now and they're not a great regular season team. Maybe there is something that they'll gain in terms of the playoff stuff.
What's their because when I think about it, and maybe this is unfair right now because like you said, we just don't know once you get to the playoffs because rotations do short and all. And I just immediately talk about when they short, what's the 3-4 that you immediately go to as far as their bench? Because if Georgia, let's just say Oubre and Georgia starting with the rest of the 3 guys, what is it? Grimes, Barlow, Bona or / Drummond, and Watford. Is that the 4? Is that the probably 4 or 5 that you probably lean on? And we have a lot of questions because Quentin Grimes, we don't know. Trendon Watford, we don't know. We're talking about the backup bigs, which we discussed on Thursday shows. We don't know. Everything is a don't know. Dominic Barlow has never been in the playoffs. We don't know. Everything there is a don't know. And with all of that said, despite the fact that what I said in the first segment about VJ Edgecombe making these statements, and we'll play the audio so people who may not have heard it, we'll play that so you can hear it from him and maybe you just take from his tone, however you want to take it. But I still think that they match up well with teams. I do. That 4-5 matchup would be fun if it was Toronto and Philadelphia in that first round matchup. That would be interesting. And because some of those guys have been in the playoffs, some of them have not. And this would be different roles for a bunch of them. Emmanuel Quickley, Scotty Barnes, etc., Brandon Ingram as well. So that would be a really good fun series if that in fact was the case. But I do think they have a shot in the postseason at making some noise, especially if those guys are ready to go. Paul George would be coming off a long break, whether it was wanted or not. He would have had some time to break. He can still, right, Kyle? He can still practice. He can still come to the facility and watch film and do all that stuff. He just cannot be at the games. So as long as he's doing what he's doing to stay engaged, which I imagine he is, and ready to go when he steps back out there on the floor, then Joel Embiid start to really pick things up when we get into the start of the playoffs. They have a chance against anybody in the Eastern Conference playoffs because a lot of those other teams do have other things to prove too because they have new players that they have to see how they function in the playoffs. You speak of James Harden, Jalen Tyson is a starter now on their team. What's he going to – so there are a ton of things for every team that they have to answer. Even with the Knicks, Mike Brown is their coach and not Tom Thibodeau. You can look at them and have questions there. So every team has questions going into the postseason, and the Sixers are right there with them. But while we look at New York and Detroit as the two teams that are the ones that really are the teams to beat, Boston and Toronto in another tier, the Sixers are at least in the conversation because of the personnel that they have and how good they are. So it should be a fun one. And VJ Edgecombe feeling that way after all this 54 games in the league and playing the way that he has played and seeing his team, seeing Maxey and Embiid play at the level that they have, sure, he should feel confident about his team. That's the big takeaway, presented by Xfinity here on our show, xfinity.com. Go check it out. If you are looking to change services and you're saying you have issues with your Wi-Fi, etc., make sure you check out Xfinity at 4K. All right, when we come back, we'll play the audio for you to allow you to hear what VJ Edgecombe actually had to say, since we've been talking about it for 31 minutes here. Let you hear from the Rook out there representing the Sixers tonight for the Rising Stars game, where he's playing for Team Vince Carter, Team Vince, and out there with the group. We'll come back, we'll play the audio, let you hear it right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
Guys, covering the Sixers, you end up working a lot of late nights, and that means what you eat in the morning is super, super important. That's why the $5 big breakfast deal at Wawa comes in so clutch for me. I'm already going to be at Wawa anyway. I've been going there my whole life. So what's better than being able to get a Sizzly? I love the bacon, egg, and cheese croissant. Any size, hot or iced coffee, plus a hash brown, and it's only $5. It's been my go-to. It's super clutch because it fills you up. It's a great price. And it's delicious. What more could you want from Wawa, one of our best friends for all these years? And if you want to make it sweet, want to switch it up a little bit, they have their caramel and chocolate craze flavors too. I got a big sweet tooth. Maybe you do too. There's all kinds of variety. So just stop by Wawa between 5 and 11 in the morning. It's limited times. You got to get in there to get that $5 big breakfast deal. Make sure you take advantage of it. You all know you want it. Gotta have a Wawa, just like us here at PHLY.
Let's tell you about our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. At Bet365, 90 million users worldwide. I'm one of them. You should be too. They have 780 events live each year, streamed right there on the app. You get an early payout in the NBA and the NHL. It's a great place to place a ticket on any of these games that you like. Look, it's a great place, great time. New customers, if you want to jump on in and you haven't done so as of yet for the second half of the basketball season, baseball is about to get underway, second half of the NHL. Well, new customers get $200 in bonus bets when you sign up using code PHLY365. All you have to do is deposit $10, place a bet for $5, and you're cooking. Win or lose, $200 credited to your account. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus, physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast, and we have some breaking news. There's a man that we talked about yesterday on the show where a question came in.
Has Derek seen it yet?
What about Malik Beasley? Well, free agent Malik Beasley has signed a deal to play in Puerto Rico for Bad Bunny's team, huh? I don't know how to say their name, so I'm not going to butcher it and mess it up. But Beasley is not playing in the NBA this season. He's headed to Puerto Rico to play for Bad Bunny's team. Sixers won't be signing him, at least we don't think, for right now. Derek, your thoughts?
Oh, you did it again. No, two times, you and I. Devon, got to hit the trifecta at some point.
I mean, I guess that NBA return wasn't going to be all that feasible. So that conversation we had 2 days ago?
It was yesterday.
Yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. I think we're on point on that one. Probably not a legitimate option.
Yeah.
Let me try the name real fast, Kyle. Santurce Crabbers.
Sure.
I don't want to say nice try because I don't actually know, but he's going to play for the Crabbers. Shout out to Benito, by the way. Bad Bunny having a big week, or a big month, I should say. Yeah. He won Album of the Year. He performed at the Super Bowl, and he signed Malik Beasley. Like, what What a trio of achievements for Bad Bunny.
All
That's
three perfectly equal in terms of importance.
equal level of importance for sure. Here we go. Here's the spin zone from Shams, who says, this gives Beasley the opportunity to play for Bad Bunny's team and showcase ahead of 2026 free agency. Here's the key part of the sentence. As he awaits a ruling on an NBA investigation. So I believe it was Bookbag in the chat who was asking us about Malik yesterday.
Yep.
I think based on the language being used here and also the fact that he was approaching, buyout season where teams are looking to fill the end of the roster, all of that suggests that Adam Silver has made it clear to all involved, he's not playing in the NBA until this investigation is resolved. So I guess congratulations to Malik for the opportunity in Puerto Rico, and we'll see exactly what comes of this investigation. I do, as we look to the offseason, perhaps there will be an opportunity to buy low on him as an off-the-bench shooter candidate, because I don't know how much trust there will be in him moving forward. And I also just have to bring this up. Shout out to Trill from Ball, who just put out a tweet that made I almost burst out laughing on the show. He said, Bad Bunny acquired more shooting than Daryl Morey. I'm out. So shout out to Trill. That was a very funny summary of the situation here.
Bad Bunny off the market. He's not playing. Neither is Malik Beasley, playing for Bad Bunny's team in Puerto Rico. All right, let's I didn't expect that one, but hey, there you have it. It's basketball. Let's hear from VJ Edgecombe. We've been talking about it. We did not play it for everyone. So, Bree, let's start with the first one, where he just simply points out that, if we're healthy, they are the team to beat coming out of the East.
If we're totally healthy, I think we're going to be the team to beat coming out of the East, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to having my guys, my coaches and everyone. So I think we got a chance to make a far push for sure.
Yeah, especially the way Embiid has now been playing over the last couple of weeks, looking like that dominant force.
Tyrese just being Tyrese right now. So
and you doing your thing too.
Definitely doing your thing.
Okay, doing this thing.
We love it. We love it, VJ. Love to hear that. The other he had another quote that went maybe not as viral as that one, but talked about his crunch time shot making, which was a big feature of the early part of their season where they were winning games, and basically was like, yeah, I have absolutely no fear. So we can tell, buddy, and we appreciate that about you for sure.
I like the fact that he has no fear. I do enjoy that part. I enjoy that part. Yeah, I do. I don't know. It's just
Devon's
me.
old school.
Cranky old man Devon, get off this lawn.
That's why I said if it was one of the other guys, cool. But I just didn't.
No, because see, if it was like Joel saying it, then I think people would pay more attention to it, and I think your main criticism would have more concern. I think your main concern would be more valid. If Joel said it, half of the NBA universe would be like, you, the guy who's never gotten out of the second round and can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
It would be a huge talking point. VJ, it's just dorks like us talking about it.
Speak for yourself there, buddy.
Okay. All right.
I know your hobbies, Kyle. Just a little self-scouting here is important.
Yeah. My hobbies are the same as NBA players. I watch basketball and I play video games. Same thing.
Yeah. So, if Joel Embiid would have said it, absolutely, it would have been plastered all over the place because of the MVP stuff, the injuries. Can't even stay out there on the floor. How are you going to help your team win? Playoff history, what he's done. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know. I don't know that they won't have that as something that they talk about. And it's not even, as I said, it's not even just the playoffs. They're going to play Cleveland. They're going to play some of these other. They got Boston one more time. They're going to play these teams, and they're the ones that are right there in front of the Sixers right now. Maybe he shouldn't have been the one who said it, but it's good conversation. It's a good conversation piece where you have your rookie saying it. Some might say, "Why is your rookie the one saying it?" Also, but it's all fun. It's all fun, and we'll see where things land in the end for the Sixers for VJ Edgecombe with all of this. I listen, I hope they get a deep playoff run. Said that they can compete with anybody. I want to be talking about them in late May with all of you guys. I want to be doing shows with Kyle, Derek, and Bree talking about this in May. I hope so. This is what we want. We want to see them compete at the highest level for a deep playoff run. And if he is a big part of that, thrilled that he was able to say what he said, come out there on the floor, compete, and back that stuff up. Because I'm not thinking he's going to go into the playoffs and average in 24. He might average 12, but still have his fingerprints all over the game like he has in a ton of these games in the first half of the season for VJ Edgecombe and this team. So I was just on the other side, everybody. That's where I sit today. Yes.
I do. Going back to something Kyle said earlier, like I hope this week off is good for him. Because over the last 21 games, he'd averaged 13, 5, and 4 and shot 40% from the field and 31% from three. Like he looks like he is tired and needs a break. And I hope that he gets that for this stretch run.
Yep. Bree, let's play the one that Kyle just talked about where VJ mentioned the entire thing about the trust from his teammates, not being scared of the moment, and not worried about the shots that he takes overall. Derek is right. He has looked tired, but let's hear from VJ Edgecombe on how his teammates feel and how he's never afraid of the moment.
Who do you model your game after? When I look at you, I see that Jimmy Butler, like that fearless, that dog mentality where you like, give me the ball and watch me cook.
Yeah, man. It's crazy because everyone just said I look like Jimmy.
Yeah, I see it.
But, man, like I said, I ain't scared of no moment. I'm gonna be honest. If I miss, I miss. If I make it, then yeah, I'm living whatever shot I got to take at the end of the game. And my teammates, they put trust in me. I said they don't got to pass me the ball. Especially as a rookie, they're gonna be like, man, you're not ready for this moment or nothing like that. My teammates trust me, man. I feel like that's what helped me make shots too. Knowing that they trust me. So if I miss, they won't be mad at me or anything like that. So yeah.
All right, VJ Edgecombe. 2 big quotes there.
I got a little anecdote about VJ. If we could do it after the break. We could do it right now. But something that my memory was just jogged watching that clip. You tell me, Devon.
Well, let's do it after the break. Let's finish our final break here. And when we come back, Kyle will start us off with that. We'll get to your super chats as well. And I'll ask the guys a few questions about All-Star Weekend of the past and get their thoughts on a few things. You too, in the chat, everybody. Be ready as we talk about All-Star Weekend games of the past. All right, final break. We come back right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
All right, team, what kind of dreams did you have when you were growing up as a kid? What did you want to be? What were your goals there? A lot of you had that entrepreneurship bone in you where you wanted to start your own business. Well, if that's the case and you're thinking about it right now, you're thinking about starting your own business, Shopify is the place for you. Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Shopify even powers the PHLY merch store here at the PHLY network. Shopify has got you covered with the website creation, product descriptions, email, and social media marketing as well. Much, much more. They also have AI design tools to help you maximize your sales. So turn your business, your big business, into cha-ching with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity. All right, folks, it's gotten a little cold outside and those joints are tightened up. The back is aching a little bit and you don't want pain or injury disrupting your routine. Getting the right care shouldn't be a hassle either. Rothman Orthopedics, they make it easy with convenient office locations throughout the region, plus walk-in and urgent care centers when you need help fast. And I got to tell you, I'm proud to tell you that Rothman proudly serves the communities across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Florida with 30-plus convenient offices, urgent cares, and walk-in centers as well. Whether it's a new injury or something that's been bothering you for a while, expert orthopedic care is right around the corner. Schedule your appointment today at rothmanortho.com/PHLY. Don't let all of your joints freeze up on you. Get it checked out so you're not experiencing any pain and you can get helped out at Rothman Orthopedics. Your mobility, our mission.
Final segment here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. All right, Kyle, you jogging your memory. What was it?
Yes. So the other night, Dominic Barlow is talking after the game, and it was the first time a lot of us had gotten to sit down with Barlow and talk to him since he signed the standard deal. And so we're going through a bunch of questions with him. And he was asked a question about, who has helped facilitate your growth this season the most? And it's like open-ended question, could be coaches, could be teammates, whoever, trainers. And he went through a few different people. But in terms of his teammates, he gave a surprising answer. And he also said, don't tell him I said this, but he said VJ. And he said that VJ coming into the gym every single day with the work ethic that he has, with the personality that he has, the way that he just kind of lifts the spirits and lifts the group up with his mentality and just like the optimism, I guess, of like, we're going to have a great day today. We're going to get some great work in. We're going to continue building this thing, is something that when you're going through an NBA season and you have tough days, slow days, like just like anybody else, right? They have a job that everyone thinks is a dream job, and it is. But a dream job doesn't mean that you show up every day and it's like, boy, it's the greatest day of work in the world. And so Barlow credited VJ as someone who, by creating or helping to create the culture in that gym every day, has helped him get better, has helped the team get better. And I think that's not something you hear about a lot of rookies, right? A lot of rookies are just in there and observing and listening, and they're expected to be kind of the fly on the wall. You're the guy getting the Chick-fil-A for everybody before they get on the plane. You're the guy getting, guys, whatever orders they have of their favorite drinks, and you're carrying their rookie backpack, the ridiculous, like the Hello Kitty bags and things like that they have people carry. But VJ is somebody who has come in right away and has done all those things, but is also setting a tone every day that is helping this team and the players on it get better.
Man, when Devon came back from his 3-month break, we should have had him have a Hello Kitty backpack on air. I don't know what we were thinking, Kyle. We really dropped the ball on that one. Gosh,
I was thinking that Devon has done enough in his professional life that he didn't need to wear some kind of ridiculous garb in order to prove himself as a host of this show.
That has nothing to do with proving himself. I just wanted to see him if he would do it. Anyway. No, I mean, talking to his coach last year, he said like he'll come in and within weeks be a leader on any team he's on. And I think he's shown that with his mentality. He's shown that with his work ethic. And in this instance, he showed that in his interview, because I still support him expressing his confidence.
Love the confidence. Love the confidence. I didn't know what to expect, even after we talked to Scott Drew and so many people ahead of the Sixers actually drafting him and him joining the team and all. Didn't know what to expect. Pleasantly surprised, though. Didn't expect him to be a day one starter, no matter how it played out with Quentin Grimes' contractual issues or any of the other things that went on. Jared McCain going down with the injury and right before training camp, any of that. But he's taken it and he's run with it, and he has been fantastic. He is worthy of being in this game that he's playing tonight. He has been tremendous for his start of his NBA career, and they got a good one. The Sixers do. They have a good one. And so very interested to see how he plays out tonight. He'll have some fun, get some work in, and then get some rest after this one so they can get started in 6 days back here in Philadelphia against the Atlanta Hawks. All right, let's get to your super chats. Great story, though. Dominic Barlow is a guy who's been in the league while he hasn't been established in the league, have had to work hard. A rookie, though, coming in and setting the tone with that infectious personality and work ethic is pretty cool to hear from some of the guys. All right, let's go to the super chats as we have two of those from Davon, a.k.a. Schoolboy Beats, saying depth has always killed us even when Jimmy Butler was here.
That might have been the year it killed them the most, honestly. That was the worst. They had like 6 playable guys, maybe 6.5, we'll say, but not a lot.
Yeah. No, it's always been a problem. Absolutely. And it's not going to get any easier to mitigate that problem with 3 maxes in the current collective bargaining agreement, especially when you have an owner who wants to.
Man, we're abusing the duck sound first
I
go round.
I didn't have it for so long, and I missed so many opportunities. I just gotta get it out of my system.
You gotta send that to Bree, man, so she can have that on the soundboard in the studio. All right. Davon also continues, arrogance that will beat anybody with healthy Joel.
Is that a facepalm emoji
That is a
that I
facepalm
see there?
emoji there. Yeah. Yeah.
With healthy Joel,
got a
I feel
chance.
pretty good. But the idea of healthy Joel is also like, will we ever get that? Who knows?
Yep. All right, real fast, guys. Slam dunk contest tomorrow, 3-point shootout, skills challenge, all that stuff. Any memories? I want to talk just because how things have fallen off the way that it is, where the 3-point contest is probably the most watchable one now, where it used to be pretty good to watch, but it was always behind the slam dunk contest. Now it's number 1. So because of that, Kyle, I'll start with you. Memory that comes to mind of even when things were going well, this player or this performance in a dunk contest, 3-point contest stands out to you as, man, what was he doing there that night?
You guys know this is so on brand for me, exactly where I'm going to go. When Iguodala got robbed in that dunk contest against Nate Robinson is maybe the angriest I've been about a meaningless event in history. So for context sake, I was in high school at the time. I'm at a tournament in Jacksonville, Florida. We're sitting in somebody's hotel room down in Florida watching this dunk contest. And keep in mind, it's a bunch of like Philadelphia area people who were obviously at the time pulling for Andre Iguodala. Mm-hmm. And he puts together an incredible showcase of his dunking talent. And we have to sit there and watch Nate Robinson miss what felt like 17 dunks in a row. And the whole time we're all yelling at the TV like, it's over. He's done. You can't miss this, man. Like, wrap it up. And then he finally finishes a dunk and they're giving him like high 40s, if not a 50 on these dunks. And it's like, bro, this is not you don't get a boost in the stats or the boost in the numbers just because you're short if you miss it 10 times in a row before you complete the dunk. Now, that was a moment that I think led to later on, they instituted, like, if you don't make it in X amount of attempts or a certain period of time, then it just doesn't count, or that was your attempt was what you get scored on. So there was a lasting legacy of that moment. But that was, I think I was much more invested in the dunk contest year over year until that moment. And that was my moment of radicalization where I was like, I will not be deceived. I will not be played with. I will not watch something happen. It honestly, I've talked to you guys about how I don't view anything with judges as a sport, even if there are athletes that participate in it. That was the moment where I said, I don't do judged events anymore. Unless there is an objective winner based on terms we know ahead of time, I can't do it. Boxing is the only one that sort of counts for me, but that's because you can win by knocking somebody out and not relying on corrupt judges like the NBA had for that dunk contest.
Yeah. That's also the genesis of Kyle Neubeck's anti-short people agenda.
Yes.
100%. I believe that.
Get out of here, Nate. Well, I wish Nate Robinson well. I know he's had some health issues over the years. So in real life, I wish him well. As a dunk contest participant, far away from here, sir.
He's a dunk contest judge tomorrow night.
All the best for Nate Robinson. Just give us back that trophy. No, when Devon asked this question, that was my answer too. And Devon's like, nope, can't do it. Kyle already took it. I was like, fine. So there's two that jump out at me. You remember when Baron Davis tried to do the blindfolded dunk and came up like 5 feet short? It wasn't even close. It wasn't like, I love the attempt, but my guy, you've got to try that before you get to the dunk contest. And then I also remember Chris Anderson. Some people were talking about it in the chat. He kept trying these like incredible, like he's going to throw it way up in the air and have it bounce 20 feet up and time it perfectly. And he didn't get close on any of them. So I give people a lot of credit for some creativity, but you've got to try that stuff beforehand because those guys came like they were completely unprepared.
Yeah, that Birdman one was really bad.
Yeah,
that was really
real
bad. Yeah, that was really bad. All right, so I'll go good Sixer, of course, where Kyle brings it up, but he was robbed. So his dunks and all were great. By the way, the judges ruined a great pass from Iverson off the side of the backboard.
Oh, yeah.
So Iguodala could make that dunk. Tim Perry in like 93 trying to compete in the dunk contest. Well, competing in the dunk contest. And man, it did not go as planned for Tim Perry, trying to dunk from the free throw line like he was Jordan with two hands, by the way, and one hand, and it wasn't good. The greatest dunk contest of all time for me is the 2000 with Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady. Steve Francis gets like kind of pushed aside, where Steve Francis was amazing in that dunk contest. If it wasn't for those other two, he could have won that one. Larry Hughes was the fourth contestant, and he was not good in that dunk contest. And it was really bad for that one. And then Iverson in the three-point contest. We all love AI. That's not what you do. That's not your skills
Long two
competition.
contest is what we need him for.
He shoots too much of a line drive for that to work in a three-point contest. So those are some memorable bad ones that took place when it comes to the Sixers. One really bad dunk contest one for me was, I think it was 22. Cole Anthony in the dunk contest, and he decides he wants to wear Timbs as he's trying to dunk because he's from New York. No, you don't do that if you're trying to win. They hold you down, man. That was bad. There were a lot of really bad ones, but this is where we are now.
Devon, you know what one I just remembered that was another recent one that I was like, this contest has outlived its usefulness, was the Jeremy Evans portrait dunk, where the whole thing was like they had already painted
the Jazz, right? Was he the Jazz? Yeah.
Yes. They had already painted a picture of what he was going to do, and then he did it, and then they unveiled the portrait, and I'm sitting there like, I don't know, man. Is that supposed to add to the dunk? Like,
what are we doing?
Okay, so you had a plan? Is that what? And you commissioned an artist? Like, I'm glad that you're supporting, probably an independent contractor on that one. Congratulations. I'm sure they really needed the freelance check that month. But what was the point of that? And then honestly, here was another one. I don't remember if I'd have to go back and say if I thought he should have won or not. The coronation of Blake Griffin with the Kia dunk, where it just felt like they were going to give him that dunk contest no matter what happened, was a little like, all right, man, this is so corporate, and I don't appreciate what this is. Go put these guys on an outdoor court somewhere without all the hoopla, and I probably would have enjoyed this more. But that was another one where it was like, this has outlived its usefulness for me.
Yeah. All-Star Saturday night has fallen off, man. And it's really, I mean, if people don't even realize who's in the dunk contest on Saturday. They don't. Keyshawn Johnson, they don't know him as an NBA player. They might know him as a collegiate player, not as an NBA player. Jackson Hayes, we're not talking about him. Jace Richardson, and that's a cool story. Carter Bryant, we liked him coming out of Arizona as well. But it doesn't really do anything for anybody this weekend. And, this is where we are right now with the dunk contest and all. I mean, a few years ago, things have changed so much. They tried to implement a horse competition. As Kyle brings up the outdoor part of it, they tried to implement a horse competition. That didn't work. It's really gone down. And yes, Mr. Midrange says the Jaylen Brown dunk contest, his participation was also a laugher as well. So memorable stuff, not for a good reason overall with the All-Star weekend and All-Star Saturday night. Before we head into overtime, we're telling you we're heading into overtime. We got to talk about somebody who's retiring from the NBA. He's an all-timer. He's a legend. Career didn't finish off the way that he wanted to. Going into overtime, head on over to allphly.com for the remainder of the show. Thank you so much on the television side. We'll be back next Monday for a 3 p.m. show to start off the week as we are still in the All-Star break. But as Eden the Remix says, Chris Paul announced his retirement, 21 years stepping away from the game, least traded by the Clippers after being told to he can leave the team and just wait until the trade deadline. They'll try to find him a new home. They did. He was sent to the Toronto Raptors. He has been waived by the Raptors, and he is retiring now after 21 seasons. And guys, I remember when he came out of Wake Forest. I love Chris Paul as a point guard. And I remember going to his first visit in Philadelphia, playing the Sixers, and one of my best friends. Of course, we're all basketball nuts, and he couldn't go. I was there. And man, the things that he did as a rookie point guard, just seeing that up close and personal. Kyle, you talked about seeing Kevin Durant, LeBron James this year, as their careers start to, wind down. Their greatness is still there, but they're winding down. I love watching Chris Paul play in person. You can hear the stuff that he's calling out, even from sitting in the stands. Great vantage point these last few years, these, decade plus that I've been able to be in the arena, sitting behind the basket in our seats that we do, and just seeing it up close. But even sitting up a higher level in the stands, and you can just still hear him and watch him, how he controlled the floor and all that stuff. Great, great player, man. And as he said in his statement, he wasn't for everybody. Everybody didn't love him, and that's part of the reason why he was let go by the Clippers. But also on a personal level, seeing him help the Phoenix Suns, get to the finals when Mikal got to the NBA Finals a few years ago, that was a blast to watch and see that, and just to be a part of that from a little bit of a distance, but being a part of that and seeing him do that. He gets destroyed for not being able to advance in the Western Conference playoffs and get to the NBA Finals and all. But Kyle's career is his career. All-time great.
Yeah, so let me first start this with a joke before I start my Chris Paul thing. They're calling it the worst retirement tour of all time. Like that, yes. I'm not sure you could have had a worse time trying to go off on your terms with the team that you really kind of cemented your legacy with in the middle of your career. But the jokes aside, and you're right, Devon, that did show you, even to the end, he was not for everybody. But I've always said the thing that I respected about Chris Paul the most, which is also why he rubbed people the wrong way, was he extracted every last piece of value at his size, with his tools and his gifts, that he was going to get as a basketball player. He was exactly as good as the highest possible outcome that a guy in his body could have. And I think at the end of his career, there's the camp that's like, oh, he's one of the most underrated players in history. There's the camp he's one of the most overrated players in history. Right in the middle means he's probably properly rated. He was one of the best point guards ever. He was not able to achieve what he wanted to as a team player. But the most interesting thing about his career to me is that there was a very clear delineation point where when he had that meniscus injury, before and after, he was a different level of athlete early in his career. And the vast majority of his career was played after that meniscus injury, when that stole some of the speed from him. And he's still, because of how he thought the game, how he was a playmaker for others, was a 3-level scorer and shooter, he was still able to have a tremendous Hall of Fame career. So did he have limitations? Yes. Was he someone that pushed people too hard? And I think he would admit that himself. Yes. But I think at the end of the day, he did what he had to do to have that career and have the longevity that he did. So I have great admiration for him. Again, not for everybody. I know all the people will bring up the Julius Hodge thing and some of the shenanigans where it was like,
yeah,
that guy's jersey's untucked and he got the technical foul to like, but on a certain level, you have to respect it because he was always at every single moment trying to find a way to help his team win the game. Did it always work? No, but I admire a guy who played as long as he did and never stopped feeling that competitive fire to try to make his teams better. Like he's the ultimate competitor. And for that, he has my respect forever.
No, he's one of those guys that, like, I can't believe he never got an MVP. Like, he finished top 10 in MVP like 8 out of 9 years in the prime of his career. I think he ended up with a a second place, a third place, fourth place, fifth place, never got that one. And he was just, obviously he had his injury problems, especially later in the career, but he was just a model of consistency. Like he was 19 and 10, 19 and 11 every year, getting his team at a really high level, not ever, never to the championship, but a really high level for pretty much every year. He really was one of the most cerebral players that you've seen on both ends. And one of the guys who just controlled the game in all aspects every time he was on the floor. He is a no doubt about it Hall of Famer, one of the best point guards to ever play the game. And I'm certainly there's debates over Chris Paul. I am 100% on Kyle's side where I loved watching him play. I understand he was probably difficult to play with and play for, but just as a student of the game, he was exceptional.
Marcus Blackstock in the super chat says, why did Stern reverse the CP3 Lakers trade? Hey, when we talk about shifts in career, he's a Hall of Famer already. He did everything. He's going to be a
So what was that? That was Lamar Odom and a pick and some other stuff.
I think Powell might have been involved in that trade too.
And they ended up getting Eric Gordon and some other. I forget the details, but Eric Gordon was the headliner of what they eventually got.
Yeah. So,
which is funny to think back.
Just imagine what that would have been. He and Kobe together, and the league said no, jumped in. Ownership.
It's funny because you would think the league would want him in LA.
I agree.
But he also probably just didn't want the perception of I sent him to LA.
Yep.
Because again, David Stern was the de facto GM at the time. So it was a whole weird setup.
Yeah, it really was. Yep. So Marcus, just a one that we always think back to. Laker fans, of course, still talk about it, but in general, as a basketball fan, that would have been interesting to see he and Kobe Bryant together. And I think
they might have killed each other, by the way.
They might have, but they might have won a championship too in the process of it. Was that after that? Isn't that when they went and got Dwight Howard and Steve Nash? After that one was vetoed in the summer, they went and signed.
When was that? I'm trying to remember when.
That was 2000.
I was in college at the time, so it was somewhere between 2010 and 2012, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Let me look at this Nash.
Well, 2011 was when he went to the Clippers.
Yeah. So it was after the lockout, I believe, was when it was vetoed. So
yeah,
that would have been like 2011, 2012. And so it wasn't that. I mean, look, how long was their window there? Kobe got hurt in what, 2014? Am I remembering that correctly? Anybody remember when Kobe's Achilles injury was?
I don't.
So the window wasn't that long. But 2013, Kobe suffered the Achilles injury. So
2012 is when the Lakers signed Nash and Howard.
And that was that season, right? It was 2012 off season. They play till the end of that year, and then that's at the end of the year is when Kobe hurt his Achilles. Right? I'm remembering the timeline correctly. Yeah, so that look.
That was 2011. You're right. Yep, December 2011.
They end up winning a title? Maybe not. In fact, probably not, depending on what else happens there. But it would have been interesting. Yeah. And then Chris Paul at that moment playing for the Lakers. You're not having to build the Clippers up to the extent that he did with Blake Griffin and company. Maybe it works out better. I don't know. It is a fascinating what if though, because at the time, I understood it based on what Derek said with the perception, David Stern sending Chris Paul to the Lakers, and Eric Gordon as a prospect at the time, I think was viewed a lot higher than anybody else who would have gotten sent in that Lakers trade. But sliding doors moment.
No, it's easy to forget because injuries sap so much of Eric Gordon's athleticism. He was a really good young player. Like we're talking 22, 23, 24 points per game early on in his career before injuries started impacting him. But yeah,
I think he was a I don't want to be here level guy before Eric Bledsoe had that infamous tweet. That was who signed him to an offer sheet that New Orleans matched. Now I'm going real deep into somebody signed Eric Gordon to an offer sheet, and I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. I don't remember who did that one.
The Suns, the Phoenix Suns signed him to an
was
offer
the Suns?
sheet.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Chris Paul, worst retirement, tour, but the retirement is official now. He is done with professional basketball, all-time point guard. And people will argue, is he top 5? The fact that you can say and ask that question, there's a discussion around it, whether he's top 10, top 5, whatever he is, you can have that discussion. And when your name is the point guard, then you've done all right for yourself when there are a ton of point guards out there. Davon, a.k.a. Schoolboy Beat, says, as far as VJ and playing for Team Vince, if only VC could teach VJ how to finish that poster. Well, maybe he does. Maybe he says, you know what?
Teach him how to grow his wingspan a little bit.
Or take one more dribble and you'll be all right. You'll finish that dunk. So there's that. So that is our news and notes. Bree, did we have any more news and notes? I don't even remember if we had any more news and notes because I knew we were talking about Chris Paul. You know what? We'll save it for next week because we have a few of those 3 p.m. shows, everybody. So that'll do it for our news and notes segment. Let's get to the world famous as we close this week out. It's the roll call.
Thank you, everybody, for being here today on a Friday afternoon. All-Star weekend, reminiscing about Chris Paul, talking about VJ, whatever it might be. Glad to have you with us. I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. For anybody who's still interested in the All-Star stuff, I hope you enjoy Jackson Hayes probably beating up a mascot on his way up to throw down a tomahawk dunk on Saturday night. Hopefully that's all he does. Until we see you again on Monday.
What he needs to do is invite the mascot to participate with him as a prop in the dunk contest. But that's Jackson Hayes. So there's that.
Speaking of people who should be playing in Puerto Rico or elsewhere. Anyway, thank you guys for being here today on a Friday. Thank you to Antoine, to Darkness in the building.
Turn the lights down for the dunk contest. Oh, so bad.
Not Chris Paul. We're not turning the lights down for Chris Paul.
Turn the lights down for Chris Paul too, but turn the lights down for the dunk contest because it's just not great.
For sure.
It was a staple, man. I used to take those because they were so good.
Now you're really aging yourself, buddy.
I know. That's all right.
Thank you to Eden the Remix, Cool Beansies, Mom's Grandchildren. What's up to Mom? Thank you to Val, Jess, my girl Nona, Smile Guy, Aaron, Davon.
What up, Aaron?
Schoolboy Beats with a couple of super chats today. Marcus Blackstock with a super chat. What up to Marcus? Thank you to Aaron, Greeny Green.
Aaron, what up?
Mr. Midrange, SB Cole. That's real. Is that supposed to be that's real, but spelled a little bit edgier? Perhaps?
What up, that's real?
What's up to Kyle Wright, to Brian Knight, Provolone John, Hedfa, Remo K, CJ, Win Forever, It's Okay to Laugh, Jazz Graham, D Flyers, Taryn's Knights, Eugene Ross, Ron. Thank you to all our wonderful people who are here today and every day with us here on the PHLY Sixers show. On the way out, guys, hit that thumbs up button because it helps us out on this show. It says thank you to Bree. It helps us all sleep at night. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notifications each and every time we go live. Enjoy your weekends. If you got a Valentine's Day date, make sure you're getting them flowers, the chocolates. Nice. I hope you already planned everything because tough to go anywhere if you don't have plans already. If you don't have a date, enjoy the 3-point competition. Enjoy the dunk contest.
Enjoy that dollar burger that we talked about yesterday. Where was that at?
That's right, at Wendy's on Sunday.
On the 15th, yes.
Dollar Singles, baby, on Singles Awareness Day. So everybody enjoy that who is not tied down for the weekend. Regardless of what your status is, stay safe. Take care of one another this weekend. Goodbye.
Bring that trophy back, Maxey.
We all silly like